Okay. Oh.
Really hot. Really hot. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back to my vlog. I'm here in Vuda, and just over there, let's see if we can get a bit closer. This just in front of me is the old Queen's Road. This was one of the main arterial roads around Fiji. It used to be the old Queen's Road that went right around Fiji and became the King's Road. But that was this Queen's Road was relocated to the other side. So this has now become just a quiet village road. But this is the village of Fiji. I'm here for two reasons. The first is that Bisese, or rather Vuda, well, Vuda was the area and Bisese is the village. By the way, this is the breadfruit tree, and there's a breadfruit right there which isn't quite ripe. There's another one there. That's a much bigger breadfruit. I think that's probably ripe. But this is what Fijians refer to as uto. Uto is breadfruit in Fijian. It also means heart in the Fijian language. But anyway, so here I am in Bisese, and I'm here for two reasons. One of which is to cover two vlogs about Fiji's history. One is an ancient history, and the other one is a more recent history. In this particular vlog, by the way, this is my friend Kini coming here. Right, Kenny, I'm doing my vlog. Semi.
Yeah.
That's right. Semi introduced himself on the camera.
He's studying at Fiji.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, really? What are you studying, Semi?
Starting now.
Oh, you?
Certificate in management.
What, tourism management?
Yeah.
Kenny wants to become. Sorry, not Kenny. Semi wants to become. Want to be involved in the tourist industry. Okay. Good for you.
Good.
All right, I'm going to have a quick look wander around there, right? All right, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Can I speak to you later, Kenny? Sorry. Anyway, sorry. As I was saying, this area here, this is Vuda, and that village, as I've said, you've probably heard me say it a number of times now, is Bisese. Bisese is important as the birthplace and the traditional village of one of Fiji's greatest prime ministers, a guy called Pavandra. But that's another story. I'm here to tell you another story, and that story concerns the origins, or the first arrival, the first landing of Fijians in Fiji. Now, the story goes that Fijians arrived in Fiji and arrived somewhere along this coast of Vuda, along this particular inlet. So you've got I don't know if you can see it, but over there in the distance is an oil refinery thing, and over there you've got the mountains which form part of the Nandi range. That's over there in the distance, and you've got the sleeping giant over there somewhere. But anyway, and you've got Nandi Airport over there somewhere as well. Nandi Airport's about 15 minutes drive from here. Let me come back to my story, and the story is this: By the way, look at the state of these buildings. They're in such a sorry state. Anyway, the story is this. It's widely reported. You go on the internet and you will find stories about, you know, Lonely Planet will tell you this is one of the villages you should come visit. Well, not this particular area, but the village just over there is one of the villages you should visit. And tourists come here on their busloads. They arrive at the airport in Nandi and they come to Bisese because they are told that this area of Vuda is where the Fijians first arrived 3,000 years ago. Now, you go on the internet, you can look at Lonely Planet and you look at TripAdvisor and you'll read about all these people who come here thinking this is where the Fijians first arrive. But this is going to sound heretical. This is going to make me sound like a maverick and somebody who many people would probably think is better off in a mental home. I exaggerate, but the point I'm trying to make is that I think the whole story is a fiction. And I think that because, well, the story began with a British colonial administrator. I can feel that breeze. The breeze is such a consolation. And that British colonial administrator, working at the Native Lands Commission at the turn of the 20th century, that breeze is just so wonderful, was told by a clerk, this British colonial administrator who wrote a history of the Fijians, his name was Basil Thompson, as I just said, and he was told by a clerk that, just taking you on a little tour of the village as I narrate this history, there's a school just over here, and this road is nice and quiet, whereas it used to be very busy when it was part of the main Lutunasobasoba, how are you? Where it was part of the main road, arterial road around Fiji. But anyway, this colonial administrator, Basil Thompson, he was told by a clerk that the ancient Fijians, when they, over 3,000 years ago, when they first arrived here as one of Fiji's famous buses. Hello, how are you? You getting ready for lunch? Yeah. Okay. I'll just have a walk around, eh? Right. Okay. Back up. Another one of these buses. Another one of these buses. I'll let it pass before I say anything, otherwise it's just too noisy. Hello dear, how are you? No, not yet. No, I'm just making a short vlog about the village.
So you came back from first landing?
Yes. Kini and I went for a coffee. We went for a coffee at the marina. Yeah, we just came back.
Okay.
Oh, look at me, I'm sweating. My face is just, you know. Oh dear. And the heat is getting to me because it's been so wet lately.
Yeah.
This is the first really big period of sunshine, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
All right, excuse me, dear. I'm just gonna wander around. Eh?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, dear.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you, dear. So anyway, as I was saying, Basil Thompson. Who's Hugh Thompson? It wasn't Hugh Thompson something to do with some British newspaper, the Daily Express or whatever it is. Anyway, not Hugh Thompson, but Basil Thompson. Basil Thompson was a colonial administrator, and he came to Fiji to work for the Native Lands Commission, and he was told at the beginning of the 20th century by a clerk who worked for him that the first Fijians came to Fiji here at Vuda, and the first arrival of Fijians is known as the Gautoni expedition. The Kaunitoni Expedition is the first, according to legend, is the first arrival of Fijians, ancient Fijians, over 3,000 years ago, here in Fiji and here in Vuda. But the earliest histories of Fiji were compiled by missionaries in the 1840s and 1850s. They compiled their histories of Fiji, and before they started, getting rid of so much of ancient Fijian culture which didn't agree with Christianity, before they got rid of all that, before they started destroying the burekalos, which are the spirit houses, before all that happened, they were going around Fiji and documenting. They were documenting the history of Fiji, and they knew nothing of the Gautoni Expedition. They knew nothing of it, and they knew nothing of the story that was now circulating about the Gautoni Expedition arriving here in Vuda. They said they knew nothing about that. That was news to them, and they'd been compiling all these histories of Fiji. They'd been writing a great deal about what was going on in Fiji. Slightly, I'm very sweaty. Look at this mess here, it's a bit ugly. Anyway, so here they were. I'm going to try and perch myself on the edge here and give you so anyway, Basil Thompson circulated this story, and he started having doubts about it because, for one thing, if there was an expedition, it wouldn't have been a Gautoni expedition, it would have been a Gautoni expedition, because the local dialect would not have had Gau at the start of the word. It would have had Kai in the local dialect. So that was the first thing. It was a bit of a giveaway that it might not be true. But the important thing was that the missionaries said they'd never heard of the story, and so he began to doubt that the story was ever true. But having circulated the story, he was stuck with it, and having circulated it, it took root, and it just flourished after that. The story flourished. So now when you come to Fiji, you come on your holidays to Fiji, you will be told you've got to visit the first landing. This is where you are told that the ancient Fijians first landed in Fiji. You are told you've got to come and visit first landing. There's a handicraft centre just over here. This is largely sort of run down, there's nothing going on here, but there is a handicraft centre just over in the village. And you were told you've got to come here and visit, get a couple of artifacts from the handicraft centre, and you were told the history of Fiji begins here in Vuda, and that's where Fiji has its origins. But I beg to differ. Again, I'm not absolutely sure where Fiji finds its origins. I don't know where the first Fijians, where the Fijians first arrived in Fiji. I have some idea, but I'll leave that for another time. But I strongly suspect that everything the tourists have been told about the first arrival being here at Vuda is largely a myth. And it's a myth that's stuck, and when something like that becomes a myth that sticks, and when it becomes a bit of a tourist destination, when people come here thinking that this is where Fiji finds its ancient origins, well then you're kind of stuck with the idea, and you just allow it to flourish. And there is a hotel over there called First Landing, and there are a couple of bungalows over here called First Landing as well. I don't know if it's owned by the same person, but that's what you get stuck with. You get stuck with a story that most likely isn't true, but it's you're stuck with it. And what can I say? The other thing I wanted to cover in this village, in Sese village, has nothing to do with Fiji's ancient origins. It's got everything to do with the man who became Prime Minister of Fiji in 1987. His name was Timothy Pavandra, and I'll cover that story in a subsequent vlog. But until then, keep watching.